Yeah,
Hi, I'm good. You?
getting ready to go to your friend's wedding in West Virginia.
I leave. I'll already be back by the time this episode goes up. But yeah, I leave in 2 days.
Yes, lot to do.
Still.
I know. She's gonna get all of her stuff into a carry-on.
I have managed so far.
Yes,
But I realized that still have to get my lovely medication
yes,
into my bag.
yes. Because she has crazy pills.
Yeah. I
So,
think most people do at these nowadays, so
yeah.
it is what it
I
is.
was kidding, baby.
I know. So I bring you to Seattle in the summer of 1990.
Okay, that isn't too far back. Some of we've done have been 1950s.
Mhm. So we are looking at George Russell, also known as the Charmer.
Oh, I think I've seen some
Uh
stuff
huh.
on the Charmer.
So he murdered 3 women
Okay,
between June and August of 1990.
okay.
And as far as we are aware, there could
Okay, there
again
could be more.
there could be more before this, but this is what he was caught on.
Okay.
But he is known as a thief and a serial killer.
How old is he?
Well, considering he was born in 1958.
And he did these in 1990, so he was probably between 35 and 45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And from what I understand, he was a good-looking man.
Okay, kind of like Ted Bundy.
Yeah, he was a very good-looking, charismatic man.
Okay, that's why he's called the Charmer.
Uh huh. So he was born in Florida.
Okay.
Of course,
What
Florida.
are they doing in Seattle?
In April 1958 to Joyce and George Waterfield Russell Sr.
Okay.
So his parents separated when he was still an infant, with his mother moving him to Mercer Island.
Okay, Mercer Island, if you don't know, is kind of a shishi area of Seattle. It's very nice upscale homes.
It is on an island.
It is on an island in the middle between Seattle and, what would you say, Bellevue?
About, yeah.
Yeah, about Bellevue or
So,
Redmond.
yeah. So they moved in with her new husband.
Okay.
So at the age of 16, he was forced to live with his stepfather, who later on remarried to another woman.
Okay.
While living with them, he developed an inappropriate fascination with his stepmother. He stayed despite he started.
Okay, so he's living with his stepfather and his stepmother. Where did his mom go?
I think his mom died.
Okay.
I believe his mom died.
Okay.
So he started to spy on her and was subsequently kicked out.
Okay. He was spying on her?
Yeah, he
Okay,
developed a fascination with her.
That's kind of creepy.
He later on lived with his aunts in the area.
His aunts. So his mom's
I don't know.
Okay.
It could be also the stepfather. I don't know.
stepfathers or even the stepmother's sisters.
It also could be his dad's.
Yeah.
We don't
be.
know.
Yeah.
He just lived with his aunts. So throughout his childhood and early adulthood, he often had scrapes with the law,
Okay.
mostly involving thefts and burglaries.
Okay.
So I think
So
this
they
is
weren't peeping Tom ones.
not yet. No.
Okay.
Actually, he never got a peeping Tom. He was never considered a normal for a serial killer or anything.
Okay.
So it also makes me kind of question the whole spying thing, because
Yeah, which means maybe it was made up to get rid of him.
exactly.
Or
Maybe the stepdad had enough. Maybe the stepmom didn't like him in general.
yes.
Well,
especially if he wasn't the real father of the kid and everything like that.
So this next part, I think, kind of is what really kind of screwed the police.
Okay.
And everything. So in 1971, he got in trouble for truancy.
Okay.
So
yeah, back then, if you skipped classes, they ratted you out to the police.
Rather than a punishment, he was given an opportunity to work at the Mercer Island police station.
Oh my God.
So he later used this to make women feel comfortable around him. He frequented cocktail lounges around Seattle in search of hookups. Naturally, I think he was very familiar with Aurora Avenue.
Yeah, Aurora Avenue is in Seattle. Well, it's just a little bit north of Seattle. Is our Broadway, or whatever you call it. It's where all
our red light district.
It's our red light district.
Let's call it what it is. It's a red light district.
Yes. You can find hookers and everything you want on that street.
So, however, naturally, he did not take rejection well.
How can I imagine that?
He was subsequently banned from a club after he impersonated a police officer.
Oh, that's not good.
Mm-hmm. Not long after this, he committed his first murder. So something to also note, in 1987, he had an official diagnosis of antisocial personality disorder,
Okay.
which was back then, that's a really hard diagnosis to get.
Yes.
So the fact
It's
that
it's not like today where they know if you're antisocial, they know you're bipolar, they know you're schizophrenic.
So for him back in 1987 to get an official diagnosis, something had to have seriously happened.
Yes.
For him to get that, especially here in Washington. Actually, not really. Washington is kind of one of the first to really get behind it. But even for 1987, that's a very something happened.
Yes.
Something pretty significant had to have happened. Between June and August 1990, Russell sexually assaulted and murdered 3 women.
Okay, so he raped all the women, all 3 of them that they caught. Okay.
In each case, he horrifically mutilated and then sexually violated the corpses.
Oh my God. Okay, we've talked about this. It's disgusting.
And then he poised them in various grotesque positions before leaving the crime scene. He literally...
Yes.
His first victim was 27-year-old Mary Ann Polrick. She was a resident of Redmond. And so on Friday, June 22nd, 1990, most of these you didn't see, I didn't get until I had to go into the actual breakdown of the case to get what actually happened to these victims.
Okay.
Because most places just provided brief summaries.
Okay.
So Friday, June 22nd, 1990, Mary Ann went to Papagayos. It's a Bellevue nightclub.
Yes.
With 2 friends. The 3 drove in Polrich's car. Her 2 friends left her at the nightclub at approximately 9:30 p.m.
Okay.
Early in the next morning, her body was found partially inside the dumpster corral area in the parking lot behind the Black Angus restaurant about a mile from the nightclub.
Oh, you know what? I remember reading about this. I think it was on Dateline or something.
Mm-hmm. Her body was unclothed, but she was wearing 2 pieces of jewelry. There was a Frito-Lay dip container lid over her right eye and forehead. Her arms were folded over her stomach, her legs were extended and crossed at the ankles, and she had a pine cone in one of her hands.
Wow. Wow.
Though there were a number of significant injuries, the King County Medical Examiner determined that the most likely cause of death was manual strangulation. So, medical examiner determined that the most likely cause of death was manual strangulation.
Okay.
Her skull fracture, and numerous facial injuries appeared to have been inflicted by a fist.
By a fist?
So he beat her. So her liver had 2 widely separated lacerations, and she had distinct anal tear that the medical examiner opinion was caused by a solid non-human object. She had a blood alcohol level of 0.14% at the time of her death. So her purse, sweater, and car were found at the nightclub. The police discovered that on the evening of her death, George Russell went to the nightclub with his friend Smith McLean to have dinner. Once there, Russell and another friend talked to Mary Ann. After dinner, Russell borrowed the keys to McLean's truck, explaining that he had to change into a shirt with a collar, as required on the nightclub's dance floor.
Okay.
Russell had a duffel bag in the truck. A Bellevue police officer was working off duty that night as a doorman at the nightclub. He often spoke with Russell, a frequent patron of it. At night, he saw Russell twice. Once shortly after he began his shift at 10:30 p.m., and again approximately an hour later. On the second occasion, Russell told the officer that he was going to take this girl over to her place to get something. The officer did not see the woman well enough to identify her. However, he described her size as being similar to Mary Ann's, and he noticed the woman seemed very intoxicated.
Yes.
So Russell did not return to Papagayos that evening with the truck. McLean was upset and spent the rest of the evening waiting for him at the Overlake Denny's, where it was customary for the patrons to go after closing. At around 5:30...
So he took off with his friend's truck?
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, I'd be pissed.
At around 5:30 a.m., McLean found a ride home. So on the morning that Marianne's body was discovered, Russell telephoned the McLean residence, saying that he had been out looking for McLean all night. At approximately 6 a.m., McLean's sister, Sean Calvo, saw Russell return in her brother's truck. Russell told her that he had borrowed the truck to drive a friend home and they could not find McLean. During this conversation, Calvo noticed a reddish-orange stain on the passenger seat of the truck. Russell explained that his friend had vomited clam chowder in the truck, which, by the way,
it's not red.
It's not orange red. It's
unless it's the Manhattan.
And then it's like the tomato bisque one.
Yeah.
Which is really good. It's actually one of my favorites.
Sorry, we interrupt ourselves.
But clam chowder, so
we live in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, and they have like the best clams. I know people are going to say, oh, but we have a little market, a little Hong Kong market in Kent, which is right next to Auburn where we live, and they have the best clams for $4.99 a pound,
which is really cheap.
It's better than our Japanese market,
and Costco.
And Costco. It is really, really good. I make paella now, and we put shrimp and all sorts of stuff. It's really good.
But clam chowder, especially if you're looking here in Washington, you don't ever find the bisque.
No, it's usually the white. So it's not the red.
Unless she has some really red fruity cocktails to go with that.
Yeah, I don't see anybody throwing up red.
Also, I didn't think they served clam chowder at the nightclub.
I don't think so too. Where was this?
Papa Gallo's.
I don't think so.
But Bellevue is that kind of town.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know. So Russell declined Calvo's offer of a ride home and walked away with his duffel bag. McLean woke up after Russell had left and went out to inspect his truck. He smelled a strong, offensive odor that reminded him of vomit or the smell of a deer gutted after a hunting kill.
Yeah.
Which
I would have cleaned it first.
Right?
What?
I would have cleaned it and then been like, hey, I had to clean it because my friend threw up in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have just left it.
So Russell called McLean that morning and told him that he had thrown up in the... So he then told McLean that he had thrown up in the truck after drinking too much.
Okay, so this is a truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a truck. So he told McLean's sister that a friend threw up. But he is telling his best friend, his buddy, that he was the one who threw up in the truck.
Okay.
Which also, if you're going to commit a murder, at least keep your story straight.
Yeah, and keep it consistent. Don't leave any evidence.
Keep it consistent, guys. Russell informed McLean that he had driven a 30-year-old woman home in the truck because he did not want to be seen in the woman's Porsche. So he kind of has been...
Did the woman actually drive a Porsche?
I don't know, but he also said that Mary Ann was 32 when she's like 27.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing.
So lies, lies, lies.
So apparently Russell had those spoken previously about the woman with the Porsche. That woman was Tamara Francis. Francis testified that she knew Russell but had never left Papa Gallo's with him.
Okay.
So Tamara Francis, she knew Russell but had never left the nightclub with him.
No.
So the police also discovered that Russell had been a regular customer at the Black Angus, where Mary Ann's body was discovered from 1989 until March 1990, when he was banned from the restaurant.
Oh. What did he do to get that?
I wonder if he harassed someone. He was, of course, angry about that decision. Naturally.
Yes, naturally. So dump a body there.
Mm-hmm. So on October 11, 1990, almost 3.5 months after Mary Ann's murder, the police removed the interior of McLean's truck.
Okay.
So while the interior had been cleaned and detailed during the summer, the floor mats had not.
Oh.
McLean had removed the floor mats, which were made from house carpet remnants, from his truck and had put them in the garage because they smelled so bad.
Oh.
So
okay. How stupid can you be? You borrow your friend's car, you don't clean it, you return it with blood stains, which also kind
of makes me think that maybe this actually was his first murder because he's not the brightest.
He is not the brightest.
So the upholstery in McLean's truck reacted positively for blood and HONA antigens, which matched the HONA antigens in the vaginal swab taken at Mary Ann's autopsy.
Okay.
Both of them could have been contributed by Mary Ann herself, who was a type A secretor.
Okay.
And if you don't know what a secretor is, it's people who secrete their blood and and bodily fluids. I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yes.
Russell was type O, meaning he could have been the source of the HO part, but he could not have contributed to the A. So the state also sent the vaginal swab and upholstery samples for DNA testing. Because of the poor quality of the samples, the lab conducted a polymerase chain reaction, so a PCR test.
Yeah. But you also got to remember, this is the beginning of DNA.
So the PCR test results indicated that neither Russell nor McLean could have been the source of the blood in McLean's truck, but that Mary Ann could have been.
Okay.
The testing also revealed that only Russell of all the
I knew she was coming up.
Hi, I'll pay attention. You just have to paw me.
Did you say this one was going to be fast?
Right. It's supposed to be. Mary Ann could have been the blood of all the comparison samples, could have been the donor of the, but Russell could have. So McLean was likely the source of the blood in the truck, and that testing also revealed that only Russell of all the comparison samples could have been the donor of the sperm.
Okay.
So in addition to the sperm and blood samples, one negroid hair consistent with Russell's was found in the debris on the sheet in which her body was wrapped. 5 fibers found in the pubic combings were consistent with the truck carpet, as was one fiber from the sheet debris. Another fiber in the sheet debris was consistent with the truck's upholstery.
Okay, in other words, they're saying that she was in that truck.
Oh, yeah. She was naked in that truck.
Well, he screwed her in that truck, you know.
So that was his first victim.
Okay.
So we're on to number 2. You have 35-year-old Carol. Okay. I am so sorry.
We hate getting the names wrong. The person who perpetrates these, we don't care. Beets. But we hate getting the victims wrong.
I'm gonna go with Beets. She was originally from Kirkland.
Okay.
So you can kind of tell, yes, it happened in Seattle, but this is more the suburb. This is more Bellevue.
Yeah, this is a suburb. So Bellevue is right across the water from Seattle.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, Bellevue, Kirkland, and Redmond are kind of right there together, so...
Yeah.
So you have Carol. She was employed as a bartender at Cusiana of restaurant in Bellevue.
Okay.
And I know I'm mispronouncing that name. I know I am.
Okay.
She lived in a condominium with her 2 children. Her ex-husband, Paul, lived nearby. On August 8, 1990, she spoke with Paul at around 9:30 p.m. At 10:30 p.m., she spoke with her boyfriend, Mike Sewell, with whom she was planning to go on a vacation. At midnight, she met another friend at the restaurant where he was the bartender. Carol left at approximately 2:15 a.m.
Okay.
At 4:30 a.m., Carol's daughter, Kelly, heard someone in the hall of the family's condominium, and then saw the person shine a flashlight in the bathroom, her sister's bedroom, and her own bedroom. Kelly assumed that the person was Mike, the boyfriend.
Okay.
So when Kelly awoke at 8:30 a.m., her mother was not up as she usually was. Her bedroom door was locked, and Kelly could not wake her. When Kelly went outside to open the sliding glass door to her mother's room, she saw her mother and became scared. She called her father, who came over and entered the room through a sliding glass door. She was on her back on the bed. The bedspread was pulled down to the foot of the bed. Her body was unclothed except for a pair of red high-heel shoes. Her feet were together with legs spread and knees bent. Blood had been smeared on her legs in a manner that resembled finger painting. A rifle had been placed resting systematically between her legs, resting on her shoes. The firearm penetrated approximately 5 or 6 inches into her vagina. Her left arm was bent upward at the elbow, while her right arm was bent down at the elbow, nearly touching her hip. Her head was wrapped in a plastic bag and covered with a large pillow. So her child saw that. I'm so thankful her child had the foresight to call her dad
and not go in all the way.
Yeah.
So hopefully she didn't see all of it.
So the medical examiner is certain that Carol's death had been caused by head injuries. The head injuries were inflicted by an instrument swung with considerable force in rapid succession.
So probably that flashlight that he came into the house with.
No. The blows left distinctive Y-shaped marks and crushed the entire left side of her skull.
What would do that? The back of a hammer would. Those have Y-shaped.
The claw?
Yeah, the claw. On
like
the back.
What Elmer Brunner did.
Yeah.
So Carol had also.
Did she know him?
We're getting to all that.
Oh, okay.
Carol had also been struck many times with a knee or fist in the torso. Her ribs were broken. Her liver was lacerated.
Okay.
Testimony suggests that Carol and Russell were acquaintances.
Okay, so they did know each other.
One witness testified that both of them frequented the Overlake Denny's. A waitress at the Black Angus testified that on 2 occasions she was talking to Carol about a situation between George and I, and saw Russell glaring at them. And this occurred before Russell was banned from the Black Angus.
Okay.
After the murders, Russell told friends that he knew the victim of the second murder and that she was a bartender at the Cusiana restaurant in Bellevue.
Okay.
So when Carol's body was found, she had rings on her right. When her body was found, she had rings on her right hand, but not on her left. At the time of her death, Carol owned two wedding ring sets, one from her mother and one from her previous marriage. The rings were kept in a jewelry box in Carol's bedroom, and they were never located after her death. So during their investigation, the police published photographs of the rings in a Bellevue newspaper. At trial, one of the state's witnesses testified that Russell had tried to sell him rings that resembled the missing set.
Okay, that's crazy.
So Carol's family also informed the police that she had half a dozen small Crown Royal bags in the top drawer of her dresser containing silver dollars and other change from tips. When police allowed Paul to re-enter his ex-wife's house, he noticed the Crown Royal bags were missing. And if you don't know what they are, they're like this drawstring, like purple bag
that say Crown Royal on them. They're
Crown
for
Royal
booze.
is an alcohol. It's an alcohol, yeah. That they go in and that's what they come in.
Yeah, and a lot of people use them for other stuff.
And when we were writing, we would use them to store our goggles in because of the material.
Yeah.
They were perfect for cleaning.
Yeah.
Because they were like a microfiber, but not exactly a microfiber. So about 3 weeks after Carol's murder, Russell and a friend drove to a wooded area on Mercer Island. Russell informed his friend that he had to pick up some money owed him. Russell stepped out of the car and returned with a paper bag full of silver dollars and change. So it sounds like he hid that money and kind of waited a little bit to make sure time had passed.
Yes.
So forensic evidence did not reveal any of Russell's fingerprints in Carol's residence. A fabric glove impression left on the sheet of her bed suggests that the murderer wore gloves. Hairs were discovered on her sheet, pillow, and underwear, but the fragments were not suitable for comparison.
Now they probably would be, because we are talking early things of DNA.
So we are on
victim number 3.
Our third and
we
final.
think last victim.
I'm assuming because I think he was caught right after this.
Yeah. But he could have done it before, but we're not sure.
With how much evidence he's left behind.
Yeah.
So we are looking at 24 Andrea Levine, also known as Randy. That was her nickname.
Yeah.
She was also from Kirkland. So like I said, there's a lot of this happened really in the Bellevue area.
Yeah.
It always is labeled as Seattle.
Because, it's just right across the bridge. I mean the I-90 or...
It's a lot of essentially, if it's within a 40-mile radius of Seattle, it's just Seattle.
Yeah. Well, it's like we say we're from Seattle, but we live in Auburn.
Because I don't want to explain to people where I am.
Yeah.
So we have Andrea. She rented a basement apartment in the home of Robert Hayes and his wife. On Thursday, August 30th, 1990, Hayes saw Levine after she returned from work. Later that evening, Andrea met her boyfriend at a Kirkland restaurant where the two discussed plans to go to the San Juan Island. Andrea declined to ride and drove herself home to pack at around 1:30 a.m.
Okay. Now, this is like really safe area. I mean, like, there's like no, safe.
It was safe enough, like, even during like the Christmas seasons, I would go at like night with one of my friends.
Yeah, it's perfectly safe up there.
So Hayes and his wife woke on Friday at about 5 a.m. Hayes opened the back door to let their dog out. The dog began barking wildly. Hayes stepped out to investigate and saw a dark figure about 25 to 30 feet away. It was dark and Hayes could see only an adult with a white form, approximately 2/3 of the width of the person on or in front of the individual's abdomen. Sorry.
Okay.
Hayes called out and the person fled. Hayes chased the person a short distance but stopped because he was unarmed. He called the police who examined the yard but did not check Andrea's apartment.
Alrighty.
The following Monday, so you have to keep in mind, she was supposed to be leaving for a vacation.
Yeah, so they thought he was gone. She was gone.
The following Monday, Hayes' wife entered Andrea's apartment because one of Andrea's cats appeared hungry. As she walked down the hallway, she smelled something like old blood coming from the bedroom. She opened the door and discovered Andrea's body. Andrea was on her back, on the bed. Her face was turned towards her left shoulder. Her legs were spread with knees straight. Her right arm extended above her shoulder, while her left arm rested by her side. Under Andrea's left forearm was the book More Joy of Sex. A plastic dildo was partially inserted into her mouth. He
violated these girls
horribly.
Horribly.
I'm surprised that he never got labeled like a sexual sadist. So the medical examiner determined that Andrea had died from severe multiple head wounds inflicted with an object such as an iron bar. Her body was covered with post-mortem stab wounds.
Post-mortem means after the fact. She's already dead.
Yeah. I wonder if she got him banned from the Black Angus.
I wonder.
So forensic evidence revealed the presence of a single pubic hair at the crime scene. This hair could not be matched to any samples taken from Russell, although Russell could not be excluded either. No fingerprints could be found, suggesting to the police that someone had wiped the scene down. So I'm wondering if he finally learned.
Yeah.
But I still stand by he screwed himself with that first one.
Yeah.
So at the trial, the state presented evidence showing that Russell knew Andrea. On one occasion, Andrea's boyfriend drove her home in her truck, and Russell followed in the boyfriend's car. A few weeks later, Russell and some friends drove out to Renton to help Andrea put a new battery in her truck. Russell rode back to Kirkland with her. On a third occasion, Andrea was at a bar and Russell came over to talk. After her murder, Russell made disparaging remarks about her, stating that she slept around, that she used men, and that she was a whore.
Okay. Don't talk about the victim. Come on, people.
Unless it's in a good way. Don't ever talk shit about a victim, because you don't want to be implicated.
No. People are so stupid.
So, on the Labor Day weekend, after Andrea was killed, Russell and some friends went to Canada. On August 30th, the night before they left, the group stayed at a motel. Russell left during the night, dressed in dark pants, white tennis shoes, a dark blue sweatshirt, and a dark cap. He said something about going to work. He returned at about 6 a.m. wearing the same clothing. He did not have a car. Andrea lived about a mile from the motel by a car, but the walking distance was shorter. So a friend of Russell's testified that she received a ring from Russell several days after Labor Day. She wore the ring several times and then gave it to a friend who pawned it. The police later retrieved the ring from the pawn shop. Andrea's sister-in-law identified the ring as the one she had given to Andrea. Police brought the ring to a jewelry store where an employee identified as the one he worked on for Andrea in February 1990. The owner of the jewelry store also testified that Andrea had brought the ring in to be worked on. Russell was arrested 8 days after Andrea's murder based on some outstanding misdemeanor warrants. After interviewing Russell, the police charged him with the murders of Mary Ann, Carol, and Andrea. Russell raised his issue, and so he did all this, and then he ended up going on to appeal this, which we do have. And I was able to summarize it so it's short.
Okay.
So that is...
So he was convicted, or did he confess?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
Because I just wanted to give you the background of the murders.
Okay.
So on September 12th, he was arrested as a suspect in the murders.
Okay.
Aside from semen samples and fiber pieces matching the truck he drove on the night of Marianne's and Carol's murder.
Okay.
It was discovered that Russell had given, as I said, the ring, Andrea's ring to another woman, claiming that he bought it from a street vendor in Canada. That ring was later found at the pawn shop. Russell pleaded innocent to all charges, and when questioned in telephone interviews, he admitted to having books on Ted Bundy, but denied being a fan of his.
Okay. Why would you have books on Ted Bundy if you weren't a fan?
Research. I mean,
I
have books on random serial killers, but I also research everything.
Yeah.
I came from my forensics stuff.
Yeah, I guess so.
In spite of Clay's claims, he was found guilty of the 3 murders in October 1991 by Justice Patricia Atkin, showing no emotion when the sentence was read out.
Okay, so he went by a judge, not a jury? Okay.
At the time, his brutal killings were compared with the then unsolved murders of 5 college students in Gainesville, Florida, which were later linked to Danny Rolling. Do you remember Danny Rolling?
Yes.
Interesting guy. On November next month, he ended up going jury too. He did go to a jury.
Okay.
He was found guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of aggravated first-degree murder.
Okay.
He was given 2 life imprisonments.
Okay.
Plus 28 years, and is currently in prison at Stafford Creek Correction Center.
Okay.
So he took his case to the Court of Appeals.
Okay.
So on appeal, several issues were raised, most prominently admissibility of DNA evidence obtained via the PCR. So the key legal issues were the admissibility of PCR DNA evidence under Fryer.
Okay.
Under Fry. Do you know that one?
No, I don't.
Okay. Essentially, Fry was a very big landmark case. Okay. So it was Fry v. United States in 1923. And so it's
1923. So they didn't even think about DNA then.
No. So this is called the Fry Standard. It's a legal test for admitting novel scientific evidence in court requiring that the scientific principle, theory, or methodology be generally accepted by the relevant scientific community.
Okay.
Basically, it acts as a gatekeeping mechanism to ensure reliability by preventing the introduction of pseudo-scientific or unproven techniques.
Okay.
So that's essentially what the FRIME standard is.
Okay.
And so, so this is the beginning of, testing DNA and all that.
Okay.
So Russell contended that PCR DNA testing had not yet achieved general acceptance in the scientific community, especially forensics.
Okay.
And therefore should be excluded under the Frye standard, which Washington uses for novel scientific evidence.
Okay. Okay.
So the state positions was that PCR, particularly at the was accepted broadly in scientific disciplines, just not forensics, and was therefore admissible.
Okay.
So suppression of basically the fruit of an unmirandized statement. Russell had given a statement to police without Miranda warnings when arrested, which led to new release and a physical evidence, i.e. discovering of stain upholstery in a truck.
Okay.
He argued that Washington's Constitution required suppression not only of his statements, but also of the resulting evidence. And then he challenged the trial court's refusal to sever the charges, basically do the separate counts.
Okay.
Arguing that Joinder unfairly prejudiced his defense, which is not a thing.
No, it's not.
They do it.
They do it all the time where look at, there's so many serial killers out there that get charged for, 15 murders at once.
Mm-hmm.
They don't sever charges.
No. So, and then he challenged other evidence rulings. He challenged omissions of certain physical items, basically essentially unused condoms, a police scanner, and a crime scene handbook, just to name a few.
Yeah.
On relevancy and prejudice grounds under the Washington Rules of Evidence.
Okay. So his first trial was by a judge.
Yeah.
Okay. And then his second trial.
So my whole thing was I was wondering if that first trial may have been
evidence?
Probably. I think it was by evidence.
Okay.
So the court's holding an analysis. So number one. Washington Supreme Court held that PCR testing of DNA was sufficiently accepted in the scientific community to satisfy Frye in this case. The court emphasized that general acceptance should be asserted not only in forensic labs, but the broader relevant scientific community. So that's what he was trying to say, in that in forensics it's not accepted, but it essentially has to be accepted by the broader scientific community, not just
one. But by
one.
then they were accepting it, so
it just, the PCR was just a weird test.
Okay.
So, however, the court cautioned that admitting PCR evidence in any given case still requires attention to potential flaws, like contamination, differential amplification, and procedural errors.
Okay.
So, if the particular test is shown to be unreliable, the trial judge must exclude it under ER 702. It's the rule governing expert testimony.
Okay.
The court further had held that challenges about bias or interested experts go to the weight of the testimony, not its admissibility. Because he was also challenging the testimony of expert witnesses.
Okay. What about the girls that said the rings he gave them?
That didn't matter. They weren't expert testimony.
Okay.
It's not someone explaining the PCR and what it is and what it does.
Okay.
That was just testimony. So number two, the suppression and divide evidence from unmirandized statement. So under the federal Fifth Amendment doctrine, when a confession is unmirandized but not coerced, suppression of the physical evidence, the fruits, is not required. Only the statement itself must be excluded.
Yeah.
So the court found that the statement was voluntary, not coerced. So the derived evidence was admissible under federal law.
Okay. So in other words, he just blurted something out before he could get.
And it was volunteer.
It was voluntary. So.
Which led to the discovery of new evidence, which perfectly legal if you volunteer.
Yeah, it's kind of like, don't volunteer.
Get a lawyer. Even if you're innocent, get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer. Keep your mouth shut.
Because there is public attorneys. Trust me, take it. So as to Washington Constitution, the court considered whether it should extend broader protection than the Fifth Amendment. Applying the gun wall framework, that's for independent state constitution analysis.
Yes.
The court concluded that in this context, the state constitution does not demand suppression of the fruits beyond what federal law requires.
Okay.
So the severance of counts. So number three, the court rejected Russell's argument, holding the trial court did not abuse its discretion and denying severance.
No,
The
I
court,
mean,
the court applied the standard balancing factors, which is the strength of the evidence per count, clarity of defenses, jury instructions, and whether evidence of other counts would be admissible anyway.
yes.
So, and then the other evidence, the condoms, the scanner handbook, the court found no manifest abuse of discretion in the trial court's ruling under ER 401 and 403, which is relevance versus prejudice balancing.
Okay.
So essentially, the Supreme Court affirmed Russell's convictions and upheld the trial court's rulings. And so this is actually a really significant case, and so this is why I bring it up.
Okay.
So this decision is a landmark case in Washington law for the admissibility of PCR DNA testing evidence.
Okay.
It established that PCR methods may meet the Frye general acceptance test and set boundaries around how courts must scrutinize the particular implementation of DNA testing.
Okay. Well, DNA testing has come so far since then. I mean, they accept it for everything now, don't they?
But back then,
it was new.
It was new. And so everyone is trying to figure out standards and how to balance it with the evidence. How can they bring it to court? Because at the time, there's still not a lot of whole, experts in the subject.
I mean, now you've got all sorts of people that you can look on the TV and you're like, I know him.
Oh, yeah, because they're famous.
Yeah, they're old, but they're famous. Yeah, just like cell phones. We've talked about that before. Yeah, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy was only convicted of 3, huh?
Oh, yeah. So he got convicted only on 1 first-degree murder and 2 aggravated first-degree murders.
Yeah, that's crazy. So he's going to be there a long time.
Yeah,
but he's in Stafford?
Yeah, he's at Stafford.
I'm surprised he's not at Walla Walla or Monroe.
I don't know why. I do not know why why he's at Stafford.
Yeah, I don't know, because I would think he'd be in a maximum security. But I don't know if Stafford has a maximum security. But maybe they ran out of room at Walla Walla.
But I'm on death row for all I care.
Is Stafford a maximum?
It's a minimum. It's a mix of minimum, medium, and maximum.
Oh, okay. So that's why he's there.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it located?
Aberdeen. And it only opened in 2000. So he was somewhere else before they transferred him to.
Yeah, so he probably was at Walla Walla or something.
Actually, so he was housed there. Interesting. He's no longer there.
Oh.
So he was there. They originally had him at Clallam Bay.
Okay. Clallam Bay, yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Oh, he's black.
Mm-hmm.
That's unusual.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not being prejudiced. I'm just saying that most serial killers are white.
Especially
they're
Washington.
Not female. They're not black. They're just white.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yes, that was very prejudiced.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In Washington, it also has to do with Washington. Our serial killers are literally white in our statistics.
Yeah, they're white.
So that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that is George Russell.
Okay. I think we're done for today. I don't know what number this is and when it's going.
This was episode 7.
7. Okay. Because we kind of went out of order, but I think it was for the other show.
Which is fine. I have that all in order. But this one will be episode 7.
Okay.
And this will go up not next Monday, but the following Monday.
Yes. Thank you.
Let us know.
Let us know what you think.
And if you guys have any suggestions, because
if you have anybody you want us to cover, let us know. It can be either, the Pacific Northwest or anywhere in the country or the world or anything like that for our other show. It would be great. Mm-hmm. Peyton was talking about Australia and where else? Sweden, I guess. Mm-hmm. So have a good day.
Yep. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.